Because you don't want to, and you're only going to get what you allow yourself to receive. And if what you allow is abuse, you're going to get abuse. If you want neglect, you're going to get that. You know, like if you allow for neglect, that's what you're going to get. But if we really start putting on our big girl panties, you know, we really cannot say that, you know, these guys are damaging us strictly because, you know, we've been tricked or bamboozled. We actually have to pay attention to the signals that we put out, and we have to pay attention to the treatment that we get. When someone shows you who they are, like they say, believe them, you know?
I believe all women. And thank you, that was beautiful. And I wanted to ask you more on like, what do you see as the common factors besides what the government and their media is trying to pit women and men against each other?
Oh my God, it's so hard. Okay, so yeah.
What can
I could even just say what I see in my own family. Like I'm gonna just tell you this, like what I've seen in the past is that from the culture that I see, people have chosen the government as their man. And when the government can give you food stamps, welfare, or housing assistance and things like that, that's what you choose. So you don't need support of a relationship because you're in a relationship with government assistance in some cases. If you would like to believe that every man is abusive, usually that comes from, like I could say, where I was growing up, I was told every man only wants X, Y, Z. So I literally grew up not understanding that men actually like children or want children, or that men, when they lose their jobs or when they have hardship in life, have feelings. I did not grow up understanding not one bit about what a man has feelings and things like that, except for I could identify with my dad, which I saw was like a heavy drinker. And, you know, when I was younger, I always blamed him for being this horrible drinker. But then as I got older and I suffered, you know, the years of abuse from my own mom, and I was looking at him like, how do you fucking do it? You know what I mean? Like, why do you ever come back to this place? And then he would just kind of make excuses for her and be like, well, that's just how she is. And I would say, you know, there's these strong beliefs that we have passed down to us by our family that says that men are supposed to be neglectful and women are supposed to tell them what to do and try to save them and try to, I don't know, like we're just taught that we're supposed to try to mold them. Like, yeah, that we're supposed to try to take people who are whatever and try to make them into what you want. And that's impossible. But I will also say this too, I'm actually witness to two people who were bound together by witchcraft. That someone went and put a spell on the other person. So I got to watch two people torture each other who weren't supposed to be together and should have been broken apart, but they couldn't because of the bond they had with witchcraft. So I totally am against love spells and things like that because I see what it does to fucking destroy people in a relationship. These two people hated, I would say I don't know, it's hard to explain how two people hate each other in this way, but are loyal to each other. It's actually like this very difficult thing. So I see how systematically we're being told what men are, to the point where all the movies make men look like stupid simps and fat chumps, and they're supposed to just basically hand over the wallet, and that the woman's supposed to be like and talk shit the whole time. And, you know, my biggest thing when I got married was that I will not subject my son to what I went through, which is watching two people sleep on the couch or argue with each other and throw things. And because I also know too that if my son is going to learn how to be in a relationship and have love, then I can't be in relationships that are not loving, because I can't teach my son how to be in a loving relationship if I'm in a shitty relationship. So now it's my responsibility to show him, guess what? I'm not going to allow myself to be beaten up or thrown around or talk shit to, humiliated or degraded in any way, because I don't want him going around doing that to another woman. I also believe that I'm not going to let my son abuse me in any way. So I have to talk to him a certain way that he understands that I'm your mom, but I have fucking feelings and I'm not here to take shit off of you. So I don't know if any of that, I know it answers some of the questions, but yeah, it's very difficult because us as parents, we have to take responsibility for teaching our kids our love languages, because if we allow them to treat us like shit, or if we treat each other like shit, or we believe that sarcasm is actually this cool thing to do, because here we got all these shows like Sanford and Son and all these different television shows that we've had where all this, we've learned to be sarcastic, bitter, and rude, and think that this is the way it's supposed to naturally be, and it's a lie.
How about you? How about you both? How do you believe men and women are being put into the situations that give them the experiences to hate men or women? Or like they think all men are trash, or men think all women are trash, or either one of you first.
Terry.
You both of you are muted.
Well, you know what? Terry was so fortunate to have a beautiful, loving husband and a really nice sexual relationship. And I was like, girl, you got all the candy.
yeah, I suppose. And so, you know, talking about this is like, yeah, it's an education for me in certain areas, because it's not something that I have, I've witnessed it, but experiencing it has not been necessarily my, I haven't had, you know, firsthand experience of it. So, you know, I grew up in a, at a time and in a rural culture where you had, I'm not saying that it was perfect, because, you know, where in the culture there was a lot of people who had problems with alcoholism, and there was a lot of abuse, physical abuse. And it was also a time, you know, and you witnessed that people stayed together because that's what they did. You know, like, you didn't have people jumping or leaving relationships. You know, you would witness a toxic relationship where people were severely abused. The wife may have been abused, the children were abused, and yet they stayed together as a family unit, which wasn't a good thing necessarily either, but that was just the culture and the time. So as we progressed over the years, people didn't have to subject themselves. Women didn't have to subject themselves, or men didn't have to subject themselves to the abuse. And so then you started to see a different kind of society emerge, where you had single parents, where when I grew up, that was a really that at that time in the 60s, you didn't see very many single parent families. So I guess I'm digressing from it all, but yeah, so it's an observation now to just see, and I think that probably goes back to maybe a grand plan to change the way families were. And so now there's a division between it, and the toxicity's just gotten worse over the years. And so, you know, was it because that was introduced back then? I don't know. I'm just going to have to think about this a lot.
I do want to throw another thing out there. Here we are being forced to live lives that are not actually true to ourselves, because, like you're saying, we were told that you're supposed to get married, and it's like, no, you fucking do not. That is not, you know, only 50% of us, and they say that. I'm not even sure if that's even true. 50% have the fucking monogamy gene, right? That no, this is not who we are by nature. and we're forcing ourselves to do it. And it's funny because the people who are royal, who put together the Bible in such a way to tell us this is who we are and to force us into marriage contracts and to build a government around all these fucking contracts, they don't live it, they don't do it, right? And so if you even look at the royal people that were, you know, conducting all this business, you know, they're having sex with all their servants. They got, you know what I mean? Like they're having all the goddamn sex, but then they're telling everybody else that they need to be married and they can't have sex, you know, doggy style. You got to do it missionary. And so you got this whole government telling you what to do.
And never mind that, look at the religion and what the priests and the nuns were doing, right?
Yeah, the priests and the nuns are having sex with each other, and god darn, they trying to tell us like, no, you can only get one. You like, god dang, I can get one. You got 25. What's up with that? So yeah, I think it's this thing where we're being forced to do things that we're just not supposed to do. And now you're looking at the other person and you're fucking resentful of feeling trapped into a contract. And then here you got people too getting married at 17 and 18 and 16. And by the time you're 35, you've lived 18 more years. You're like, what the hell? I'm not even the same person anymore. But now I got an obligation because I got kids. And I honestly don't think everybody's not supposed to fucking have kids. The whole idea that we're supposed to be fruitful and multiply, that's probably another scam, because really, we just got through talking about this the other day. The whole thing about you having kids, because we're building a slave race, remember? We need servants, we need sex slaves, we need workers. So that is all just another agenda to get you thinking that you're supposed to have kids when plenty of people don't need not one kid in their life because they're just not fit for it. And some people, and they're like hating themselves and disgusted with themselves, like, why did the mom thing not kick in for me? Why did the dad thing not kick in for me? The loyalty or the love or the illusion that they're supposed to have this beautiful relationship, and they're like, what's happening? People just have no idea what they want. That's another thing. They don't know what they want. They're only building their ideas on what society is telling them what they should have before they even have the understanding. Because even like back in the day, like I guess a Jewish person, a man wouldn't even be able to practice religion or get married until he was 40. But we're letting people forcing people, you know, when you gonna have a baby? When you gonna do? And you're like, whoa, you know, you're slapping stuff on people that they really don't want. Labels and obligations to conform when everything is a lie, everything is wrong, and we're just trying to squeeze ourselves into this whole false idea of what we think life is supposed to be like. So that was me talking again.
Are you, Marvel?
So it's interesting seeing, just hearing both of y'all's perspective, because in my household, when I was growing up, I was really conflicted. I did grow up at deep South. So the male role was the dominant figure of the household, supposed to be the breadwinner. But I grew up with a mother from the Midwest who, you know, definitely did a great job to show me there's other ways of being besides what they're trying to be or make us into being in the South, because she was highly educated, whereas everybody else was just baking cakes and watching the kids at home. So yeah, that left an impression on me. But as I was growing up, I felt kind of torn in between these two worlds where, okay, my mom wanted me to be this strong, independent young lady. And then there was this other side where like the boys I was attracted to and everything like that, they wanted that Susie homemaker kind of, you know, domesticated thing. And I think I rebelled against it altogether, like, you will not domesticate me kind of situation. But yeah, it was weird because it was definitely conflicted. And then here comes the MTV scene, and you know, music videos and the hypersexualization and all that jazz that goes along with it. So it was very interesting. I could see both of y'all's perspective, and then like mine's like a melding almost of the two in a way. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you know what too? And here we got a society that raises women like my mom said, hey, you better be independent and you better be able to do everything on your own. And then they raise your brother to say, you better find you a woman who can take care of you, who can do your laundry, who can cook, who can clean. So it's like they were teaching opposing ideas. And then being like, okay, go, you got it. You know,
sex, depending on which sex you had, they had different
they're teaching. Yeah, that's confusing because then you coming along, you're like, look, I'm not doing your laundry, and he's like, my mom said you supposed to do, and I have had that happen where guys will say, well, you're supposed to, and you're like, what? Like, all what you're supposed to.
Like
I love it.
And then Terry's just fucking spoiled because her husband is all cool and she's having all these good orgasms and stuff. She just she was having good orgasms. I was like, do we need to go in the Astro and take a peek? No, Claire. But she did say she had some good orgasms. So anyway.
You're gonna say something, Marvel?
Yeah, so there's I guess it all depends on, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm going to stop there because I need to process that one a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I need to integrate too. This is good stuff.
This is it's so many whys because we're all like different backgrounds and different parts of the country. She's from Canada.
Different generations, and it's like interesting because
ages.
Yeah,
different generations. So it's a generational thing as well. You know, because I grew up, and of course it was like this is the role of the woman, right? And so if you had the idea where, well, gee, I wanted to have a career, but you can have a career, but first of all, you got to be the mother and you got to be the wife and you got to take care of the home. And my husband was traditional in that way. And it's like, damn, it was like, do I have to try and figure out what to cook for supper again tonight? You know, like it's just that.
I can barely do that for myself.
And there got to a point
it's like,
he
didn't
like the way that I ironed the shirts, and I said, well, then iron them yourself. And I never had to iron another shirt again. But so it was a transitional role.
I think because we got so many answers, people expect you to have all the answers. I'm eating the noodles tonight, okay? That's what's gonna happen. And an avocado on the side, like I'm looking at the refrigerator like, I don't know, What the hell?
Then as not only that, having children, you had to be responsible. Oh, now I have to volunteer to be on the soccer mom, and I got to volunteer for this, and I have to volunteer for that. And it's like, okay, like how many roles do you have to have? Plus, how come you haven't got a career?
Right.
My mother-in-law used to make me feel guilty.
Yeah.
She would be like, oh, I loved being at home with my baby. And I was like, yeah, chick, you were drunk. You and your sister and your aunt and your cousins all lived next to each other. So you'd pile all your kids together and you guys would sit around and drink and smoke cigarettes right there in their faces. So yeah, you had a great time because you were tossed up, woman. And you had your whole family there, where now we actually live, like my mom lives in South Carolina, I live in Florida. You know what I mean? Like we don't even live near each other anymore. We don't support each other anymore. So, like if something happens, because I imagine too, like something might happen between you and your husband and somebody's going to call their mom and be like, Mom, I just don't understand. And then your dad and your mom are like, okay, guys, this is there's a little bit of that too, I mean, there's the other extreme where your parents are like way too much in your business, but it
Right.
just seemed like here we are in this generation where we're like high speed, fancy job, no support. You're living on the other side of the country and you're supposed to be like doing it all the best.
Mhm.
It's a fucking lie. Another fucking scam from the Stepford Wives on TV.
Right.
Right. Going back to my past life as a feminist, I was all about like smash the patriarchy and get past all the boundaries that are made into society, is like controlling what we have to do, and free love and the hippie movement, and like, oh yeah, looking into like all the different positive experiences that I can have. And so it's good to do that and explore, and yeah, not there's extreme and but like balance and moderation, but things to learn, because we're just freeing itself, the floodgates open to freedom. It feels good. And so it's like there's all these aspects and alter aspects of ourselves internally that are conflicting with each other, and these voices externally, and we got to find a way to balance them and give them voices and meet their needs, and from all these lives of being healing, like suppression of the feminine and the masculine as well, with the dominating forces that want to like make everything go into poverty and survival. Yeah, and then I agree with what you're talking about, with like not everyone's monogamous, and a lot of people going to polyamory, and then there's like the duality, because like a lot of people also feel expressions from both. And I'd say
That's
there's a
another
time.
one too, because people think they're ready for polyamory and they think they're ready for polygamy, but they're not, because you haven't gotten your jealousy controls down, and your expectations are on different levels. So I think that's another scam. I think you should why even label yourself as polyamorous or anything like that? Just be like, yeah, I'm just an independent player. How about that? Today, let's worry about today. Or, we need to get we need a rental program where we fucking, make updates, where you're like, okay, you think you want to do this again? Okay, we can make updates. You know what I mean? I saw this show before, like Broad Street Girls, and that's what the guy and the girl they were dating, and that every year they would like go through the list of what they like and what they don't like, and if they want to renew and stuff like that. But let's get a little bit of freedom around, because people are trying to lock down. How do you control what we are right now, especially as spiritual people? Because if I go to Egypt, and this is a big thinking of mine too, like, oh, I'm going to Egypt for 14 days. I don't know who I'm going to be when I'm fucking done. I might decide to like, I'm going to go live in Australia. So now we're locking ourselves down to people, and we're like, the whole idea of a spiritual journey is extremely limited when you lock yourself to be like, no, I'm going to love you forever. And we're throwing out these fucking words like it's nothing. And
there's a lot of past lives. You're going to be integrating some interesting
massive promises that we cannot keep.
Exactly.
Or that
Somebody
we don't
put in the comments, like cook, seamstress, gardener, other wife. Yeah, you're going to be integrating all these parts of yourself, and like interacting with the jobs, all these past lives. So there's different conflicting personalities and things to us that we got to bring to unity. And it's like not always wanting to voice that. And so being free and not judgmental, and see where things go. And a lot of the whole thing is like then the dating market, where people out in the world to try to find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, or like go to the top of the cream of the crop to figure out what they can catch as the biggest fish, with the alphas and the omegas of the grand women, or the most grand alpha male Shad and Tyrone they can get. And sometimes there's very little, there's little percentage of that population that's just right, and everyone should be working to be the best, their greatest self. And that I think that would make everything expansive and more to where there's someone for everyone. But there's more women on the planet than there are men, and so there's like a thing with that, and the alphas.
There's a
with
fair amount
all
of
the
lesbians in the world to cover that, though. We're good.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
They're covered.
Actually, what
exactly.
they say is there's more males on the dating site than there are females.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah, that's true too. And then, but like, you know, most men end up in the friend zone, and like, you know, the beta male, so they don't,
Great
they
glass
get,
of emergency.
they get over because, you know, again, 100% of the women, or 80%, let's say, but they, you know, still 100% would like it. They want 20% of the top men, and it's good to go, because that's like the dating goal, is see what you can get. Unfortunately, that can lead to abuse, because the alphas don't have to be like emotionally intelligent. They don't have to be good in their personality. They can be a dick, and they can be abusive and all this other stuff, and still get the women clicking on them, because, you know, was it frame, game, money, and I forget the others, but to what like attracts women. And then they so the women that experience these men, because they're not dealing with the simps and the betas and the friend zone people, that is the lower 80%. They're not looking at them, they're not dating them. They date the assholes and the dicks that like ruin their life and mess them up emotionally, and then are haunted and have all these demons constantly swelling up negative trauma. They then think all men are trash, so that's through that. And then with the men hating women, it's mostly going into not having a positive or male figure in their life to show them that it's not a good mindset to treat women badly. And then, you know, the people they surround themselves with, and the things they program themselves to be, and the emotions and the hate and the boxing in, and their ego owning them, getting them into possession, that like usually gets them into being misogynist. So that's what I've seen anyway.
I do have another thing too. Most of the men who call women shills, men who use that fucking word, I usually have a word for them, because there's this other word called an incel, right? You know that word because you seem to know a lot of words, Sean. So those are the involuntarily celibate. And they're usually angry because they're involuntarily celibate. And so they usually end up being the ones that are always attacking women.
Yep.
So usually if a guy gets in an argument with me, I usually tell him, you got a dry dick, you're not getting any, that's why you're angry, and you're not going to blame your shit on me. So,
Right.
you know, I'm a nice person. If you don't like me, that's because you're not getting any. If you have time, if you even have time to argue with me, I know you don't have a girlfriend. Because if you got time to argue with me, you got a problem. And you're not going to put it all on me.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems that build up in men.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
there's a beating up of both the male and the feminine, and then like it all trickles down from the controllers and the dominators of our society, which are vastly haunted by these apex predator beings that then want to divide everyone, and they do it in a way where they take the energy of another person, they throw it at each other to then pit them against each other and cause drama, and then they're blaming each other. So yeah,
so why is this? This is what I noticed even in all my classes and people that I meet. The people that are actually nice, polite, giving and loving and thoughtful, they're too scared to ask for the things that they want. On the other extreme, all the people that are narcissist assholes, of course, they have no problem encroaching on your rights and your wants and your desires, and they want what they can get from you plus. But yet, all these good, empathic, kind, nice people cannot muster the courage to ask for the things that they want out of life. They can't ask for a favor. They can't ask for support. They can't ask for love in these relationships. And they give and give and give. And then there's always this other person that can take without giving. And why are we so stuck as these good, whole, well, I won't say whole, but these good, loving, kind, generous people unable to stand up and ask for the things that we really want and need and desire?
Well said. Yeah, that's like the dominating and controlling and programming man and women from the elite. There's like an invading thing. There's like books about how to successfully infiltrate a country and degrade its society and have it collapse and then take it over. It has to do with like destroying the divine masculine or the protective masculine, so that by like making them over feminized so that they can't protect themselves and the women, and then they'll just give in and be agreeable to all the new controlling systems that are put in.
Is a part of that giving them things like football games to watch so that they can let their testosterone out in that way and live vicariously through others?
Bread and circuses, right? Yeah, and then and then the whole dividing of the family unit, which, you know, is whatever with polygamy and whatever relationships want to do, but there's a positive aspect to the family unit, which is to make a really good structure and a holistic mind for the child. And there's incentives that are breaking apart marriage to incentivize and give people money for breaking apart the family unit. Like the government will give you money if you're single.
Yeah.
And then there's the legal system for divorce is really bad, especially on men, to where barely anyone wants to get the men don't want to get married anymore now because it's not a very good deal, unfortunately. So it's like breaking that apart. So then if anyone is only born, because I was only grew up with only a mother, which my situation was pretty good because my dad was a little bit aggressive and rednecky, and I probably would end up in a different career and not as spiritual if I was, you know, with that, but still love him and, you know, all that. But, you know, I wasn't grown up to know about assertiveness, which is important for growth and going up the ladder and getting what I want. So I was started out more feminized, and then I had to learn how to be masculine. And then
is that because your dad was so masculine? Like he was so masculine?
I barely saw him in my life, so I didn't get to see him.
Okay.
So I grew up with my mom, so she didn't never teach me anything about the masculine traits, the boundaries, do what I you know, seek out what I want, be assertive.
I can testify to this. I'm sorry, but I can testify to this because I saw my son was going, oh my God. And I was like, why is he doing that? And my ex-husband said, because you fucking say that all the time. And I was like, oh, wow, he's just completely imitating me. So yeah, when your dad is not there, you have no choice but to imitate what your mom does.
Yeah, and this is not to just make, like, if you don't like each other, to stay with each other, but sometimes it can be really toxic and it's best to split that up. But if it's not you know, that's with statistics that I've read, that's a small percentage of divorces. Like, people are getting divorced like crazy for like the smallest of things, like people getting fired from their jobs and more options, and you know, with that comes cheating and
that's a whole nother, that's big, because as women become workers, now we're competing with men for money, which I understand some women need to be independent, but then it's
right?
It
So
changes
complicated.
it changes everything, because now when women have money, they're like, fuck that. I don't have to put up with that shit. You know what I mean? Like they become, even if it wasn't abuse, I understand if it was abuse, but even if it wasn't abuse, they're like, fuck that. I can do better. And now it opens the door for what? Women to have sex with their bosses, and men to have sex with their coworkers. And because now you got
Exactly,
the
right?
whole
Yeah.
thing is just
'Cause they won't respect the man if they're not like providing more and doing all that. So
right. And you got a boss
so-
telling you like, do this, do that. You're like, okay.
yeah.
Like
And
that's
then
difficult.
and with the whole thing, because you know, it's women have to mature faster than men because of the time windows of unfortunately, with, you know, menopause and all that, and then they have to have a kid in between. And so depending on if they do have a kid, then that frees them up for more optional mindsets. But then, you know, if they want to go after the top 20%, the top 20% don't want to commit at all. That's like their one card that they hold on to, that they're not giving, because of all the options, they're not going to really do it. So you have to like be very strategic to even get those top 20% to commit. So they end up getting abused and used by these men that don't ever want to commit to them, and are using them. And so they then feel like they have to settle, unfortunately. But there are still good men. It's just like figuring out what is a good man and what's worthy, besides the emotions and the butterflies, being able to determine that, with the men at the top being very attractive. They you know, they come with the thing of they cheat, they you know, they're disrespectful and all this. So there's like the standards of learning through maturity. But you know, it's good to, for me anyway, when I was a feminist, I wanted to, you know, have as many experiences as possible. And that's the strategy that makes sense, to try to find the grand male, that whatever, and then at the end, you know, before 30 or whatever, I'll then want to try to settle down so that I feel secure and safe and supported, and not like, and I can get a child in so that I can keep my lineage going.
Yeah. Pass
Yeah.
down your DNA, all these obligations, all these ideas.
Yeah, but the unfortunate part of that is, those top 20% of men, if you ask what they want, that they're looking for, of all the options, they want like beauty, kindness, purity, and yeah, I guess young, and like, you know, good personalities. And they're not really that attracted to wealth, but you know, I am. So whatever. If you know, top earner, I'm and really, like, I'd love to see more, like, because women have a greater with their greater empathy and emotional capacity, they could be more, they are 3 times likely to be more psychic. So they could be like a supportive psychic role for the masculine earner type of thing. But like, there's a lot of confusion, and it's like whatever, because we can integrate it all, and not everyone's can be put into that cookie cutter. But and since
But this is
that
what I
goes
said
against the,
before, when you reduce men to being walking wallets and penises, it's like that's your value is based on what? Do you give good dick, and do you make enough money? And so that's like a massive reduction of what a human being has to offer to your life. It's you know, it's complicated, but then it's not. And then I don't know, like we all don't want to walk around being paupers or anything, but how do you oversimplify what a man is? And I see this thing where a woman wants to be able to present tears and feelings, but a man cannot do the same.
yeah, and I'd say it's important. The emotional body is important, and it's strong, and it is, because the empathy is the ability that opens you up to more intuition, psychic abilities, knowingness. Most of knowingness, besides record data and accumulation through memory and the logistical mind, most of my knowingness comes through feeling into things and then gaining that data, but it's like psychically. So that's the empathic ability that women have 3 times more
Right.
capacity to do. But
it's a trap, Sean. It's this like circular trap because the woman wants this alpha male, but that alpha male is the one that she's going after does not have the feelingness and the knowingness, and but oh god, it's a fucking cycle. You just opened yourself back up to wallet and dick, or wallet alone, or dick alone, because it's like it's. And I still even have this thing where I think that most guys, that if they're well endowed or good sexually, they probably won't even graduate high school or ever have a fucking good job because they're too busy doing what they're good at, which is having sex. So then they don't actually pursue higher goals. But then there's the other guy who is actually intelligent, like mentally intelligent, and he can pursue the careers and get the higher jobs and whatnot. But then the guy that wins supposedly is the guy that he has to have this big wallet, or he has to be the really buff dude. But there's going to be some lack in there because the 80-20 rule will always apply. If a guy is most likely buffed out and physically fit and so focused on that part of his life, there's going to be somewhere a lack of intelligence, either emotional or just pure intelligence. There's going to be a lack in other categories. If a guy is mentally smart, most likely you're going to deal with a lot of arrogance. And there's going to be this one-sided thing where your thoughts and stuff don't matter. And then if you want somebody who's artistic, there's this whole big chart that I had seen one time, and I wish I could find it again, where if you want somebody who's artistic, they're most likely going to be messy. If you want somebody who's buffed and fit, they're most likely going to be not emotionally intelligent. And so you're not going to find these things just straight away.
We all want it all, right?
Yeah, you're not going to get it.
All.
And so here it is. As a woman, you have to decide which part of that is most important to you. Is it really the smart guy with a lot of money who's short, fat, and bald? And that guy, you're like, damn, how did he get that hot blonde girl with the big boobs? Because he bought her boobs, and she's smart because she was like, I want security. Versus a man who's overtly sexual and can bang it out. You know what I mean? Like there's these choices. So I don't know. And it's on your, I think it's just on you to decide what is important to you. As spiritual beings, we just have to be aware of the con. And we're just, like you say, you call it a game and a chess game. And the only way you win is when you do what makes you happy. And I don't know if happy is the middle of the road or if it's necessarily extreme left or extreme right, but it has to be like some middle ground for you where you find balance, right? Because otherwise we can be here forever talking about, because it's so it's worse than Facebook status. It's way more complicated than complicated.
Oh, absolutely. The art of
these
it, right?
different levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like you said, this is the way. Like you said, there there's a give and a take, and like my strategy was like intelligence, then I went, the spiritual experience, then went to spiritual, then I learned all the different aspects of what is needed to gain into motions, and then with that I was able to gain infinite energy, and then went into physical. Now I use working out to be magical, and I can use that as one of my favorite ways to do that. But a lot of men are strategic, and they go for what is gonna get them results first. So they'll go into physicality and career, which is what a lot of women want, to see above everything else, gets your foot in the door. So
I think that's why a lot more men can find happiness, though, because they're looking at it from a logical perspective of strategy. Like, this is what's most important to me. And I see a lot of men with like a really hot looking woman and she's a fucking tyrant. But he's happy because the most important thing to him was she's fucking hot. I don't give a fuck what she, I don't care what anybody thinks. They're like, she's hot, that's good. Or, you know, sex is good, that's good. Or whatever, they pick that one thing that's most important to them and they kind of like stand on that. And women, we started thinking, I don't like my green beans that close to my rice, and I need my macaroni and cheese over here. We can't pick the one thing. And it's like I read this book before. Men are waffles and women are spaghetti. Because we dip into all these little categories and we're like, this is touching that and that. And so we never really pick the one thing that's important to us, where men are like waffles, and waffles have those little compartments. And this one, it has all the syrup in it. So that's the one that's most important to me. And we can, and guys can pick where we just go, and we try to tweak and fix and change. And then we can't be in the relationship without the guy, without trying to fix him and change him and manipulate him in some way. And I think what I've learned from some people, like I've learned that some ladies, they're like, oh, you know, that's just the way he is. And I'm like, oh, there's something to that when that woman is able to say, oh, that's just the way that he is, you know? So
Yeah.
we want it all, and guys seem to be able to narrow it down to that one thing that they really want. You either want that blonde girl with them big titties, or you got that one guy who's like, I want the blonde girl that works real hard and she gonna take care of me. You know, like they can pick and they hitch their wagon and they kind of roll with it. But it seems like women are the ones that are kind of like struggling and flopping around. I mean, and some of the men, you know, only the ones that are detached are the ones that really have a problem, and they're the ones calling us all shills and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and I hate that fucking word shill. I hate it. That's immediately, I'm fighting.
So I was just saying, I knew this guy last year for quite a while. We were friends, but it was a friendship. But he was looking for the perfect woman, right? Because he wanted love. He was at the point in his life where, I don't know, I guess he's 49 or whatever, but he wanted to have real love in his life. But he had a list that he was always picking the same kind of a girl, and the relationships always ended up the same because she was so emotionally dependent, and he couldn't handle it. But you know, I said, you're picking the same, you know, like he had a certain look that he wanted.
So it was A plus B equals C. A plus B equals C.
He was Sagittarius and he liked Pisces girls.
So he didn't know anything about math. A plus B equals C.
Well, yeah, it's just like, you know, and he was telling me about these disastrous relationships that he's had, right? But he wanted to have this perfect woman. And so he had this idea of what this perfect woman was. And then he sends me all his profile pictures, and he sends me onto the website, and I says, yeah, but now I'm going to have all these 40, 50-year-old, you know, 40-year-old guys looking back for me, because he's sending me to look at, like, go on here and tell me what you think is hot. I was like, you know, what you know, and how does my profile compare to the next profile? And it's like,
really? He wanted you to do like research work.
He wanted me to do research for him.
Exactly. A public relations analyst or some shit. Like, what the
I know. And it's just like, and he had all this basis that he wanted. And he says, okay. So then he's sending me, what do you think of this girl? What do you think of this one? But as it turned out, she had some health problems with her immune system. So of course she had this, right? Now he was totally against it, because he wanted to date her, because he thought that she was going to be his perfect woman. He went and he got that.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you did what? After everything that you said for
Wow.
the months prior to this, you now you changed who you are to please someone who you haven't even really started dating yet.
Mm.
And based on his projection of what he thought she was going to be the perfect woman.
Mm.
But
Well,
anyway,
you know what? That's it.
the relationship, whatever kind of relationship we had, it was a friendship, ended because
Because you told the
I don't think
truth.
he could have had, he couldn't have had me in his life as sort of
As a mirror, he can't
Yeah.
have a big old mirror telling him like,
You did what? Because you think you're
but
gonna
guess
get-
what? He gonna be with, I bet you he'll date her, be with her, marry her, and he has already decided, because that was, men fucking decide. They like, oh, I'm gonna marry her. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna be with her. They decide.
And he will, and knowing
Really
the way
early.
that he was, then he would just make sure that he would be her.
That's
would
why
be able
men
to be
can
the,
buy-
he would let her be the dominant one, even though he was like this alpha male, right? But because he wanted to be in a relationship and he wanted to be in love.
Yeah.
He was
But I'm
going
gonna tell you this, Terry, though. He's winning. He's a fucking winner. He took the shot. He's gonna go date her, and he's gonna marry her, because what? He knows how to shop for what he wants. That's the purse that he wanted. It matches his shoes, and he's gonna take it home, and he's gonna keep that purse until all the straps fall off. Where you will go to the store and buy that same purse, and you'll be like, I'm gonna get another one. Get another one. No, he's fucking decided that's who he is, and that's what he's want, and that's his new identity, and that's what he's gonna do. It's like, no, guys have a different shopping system than we do.
Mhm.
And their shopping system, evidently for them, is more efficient, and they will thug it out with whoever it is, as long as the thing that they get, they want the one thing, or whatever, how many things that they decided they want. That's what they want. Is that unfair, Sean?
Pretty good. I like the wisdom. Yeah, I'd like to ask you more of like, what do you think is that, because it is male and female are
You gotta have to ask me on the next show.
vastly different consciousness. So it's like the masculine is more dominated by the mind, and then women are more into the emotions. So like that creates whole different directions of what we're pulled in our will, and I understand kind of both, because I've integrated both, and I'm very super empathic. Like the thing that I've gained knowledge for the emotions is that it's understandable, because it is that gate to knowingness and full truth. But most people believe that everything I like, for me, when it was starting out, I thought that what I was feeling, what was true, everything. But there is such things as mental and emotional mind control, and like triggers and attachments that can influence things that aren't true to have a reaction. Same thing with what keeps people asleep. It's like a flaring up of emotions from the ego that keep people away from certain things, and like Pavlov's dog or the blinders. So if we don't realize that our emotions aren't always true, and we gotta make that discernment, then we can have our emotions take us in negative directions, like alien love bite that takes us to like karmic relationships and other stuff. And with the mental one, there's like if you get really unpolarized and you live your life mentally, you don't know what is true, but you think critically. And it's like with the data, it's kind of like that guy from Big Bang Theory. He has almost no emotions, but he's like a super genius in the mind, and he can't like function really well in society, but he can categorize and relay data and memorize, but he's not at all good at dating. It's important to integrate both, and then truth, it doesn't come easily, and it's not always feeling good, because a lot of people are against going for the dark truths, and there's a lot of dark truths in this world, and it's like fire to get out of the house of the burning building, and you got to be brave to get through the fire to safety. But a lot of people are stuck in the house and while it's burning, and in suffering of ignorance, which does cause suffering, and it's only temporary, like drug euphoria of like was ignorance is bliss. This is not really it's
that's a magic one. It is ignorance bliss. It depends. I mean, because we're on the side of knowledge, so to us, we don't acknowledge that, but I think for other people, ignorance is fucking bliss. It is. They feel just fine. I don't know. I really do. I think they're feeling good.
It's like, have you seen that scene where the dog's in the building with that's on fire, and he's like, "This is just fine."
Yeah, or the frog in the water, in the boiling water. So
like
Sheldon,
that guy
no,
you said
Sheldon is
that
not
was
fun to
insane.
date.
It's like
Sheldon
that guy
is not fun.
Sorry, there's
I'm
delay.
sorry.
Like
I'm
that guy
sorry.
that said that like that guy that you said was in pain when he was like in an emotion, and because you could see past it. Yeah, they don't know they're in pain, and they're like doped out or numb to it, and so that is their being okay, being blob, being like stable is okay to them, but there's way grander ways of emotional experience, and that blah feeling is a trapped emotion. It's not clarity. When the emotion body is clear and pure, it feels loving and blissful and like so good emotions, and it's like light that's like shining inside you, that and it's if it's clear, you got greater intuition. But people are okay with
I guess I understand that, because I understand too that if a person doesn't know that they're a slave and they think that they're free, they don't really want to be free.
Yeah.
So they actually feel pretty good with where they're at. We know people like this that are enslaved right now, and they think that they are fine. And if you try to relieve them of any of this, they're going to cuss you out and hurt your feelings or jab back at you, and you have to like leave them there.
Yeah, the ego boundary. Ego will lie.
If I've never flown a plane, if I've never been in a plane, and I've never been a pilot, and I never took a lesson, I never knew I could fly a plane, then I don't know the freedom and the excitement and the exhilaration of flying a plane.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm still happy where I am right here in the living room, eating, pizza and drinking wine and, having
like,
my little Friday night dinners versus.
It's like, sorry. It's like Pluto's cave. You don't know what's on the outside, and it's scary. And like what is waiting for you when you escape. And yeah, the ego that is holding on to a person and keeping them within a box is their mind, is their own jailer, their own gatekeeper. The ego will lie, cheat, steal, and even kill, and do whatever's necessary to protect their own ego boundaries, their own reality. And it will keep, it's the biggest thing that's keeping people asleep, unfortunately. Yeah,
Something, ladies.
Like, you guys got any comments? And like it's like kind of what, 4 hours? How long?
You did that. You don't you turn around and be like, oh, look what you guys did to me.
I'm trying to keep up
here
with
for 4 hours.
but my stamina right now is just like, oh, I can't. I'm trying to keep up.
It's like 4.5 hours.
No, 4.5 hours.
4.5.
We can do this again and stuff. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
So
I'll be better.
You know what?
I was expecting maybe 2 hours. We've like.
How about you guys? You want to keep going for another 4 hours?
No. You know what's funny?
I got dinner reservations in 5 minutes. I gotta go, you guys.
I was sitting here like, I don't have enough questions. And then I was like, oh my God.
Want to do it again for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because I think we could actually travel around the universe and back, and then hit the multiverse and go left and we could actually find Doctor Strange together. This is amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed going to that Universal Studio with you guys. That was like the best theme park
That was so fun.
experience I've been
I
with.
loved it.
People- It's so magical going through the Harry Potter thing and skipping the park and Marvel like swapping that girl in the back of the head.
Oh
and
yeah,
us
that
just
was so
skipping back.
funny.
That was so funny.
Sorry.
She should have known better. They need to move.
What was hilarious, she looked back in a way that she couldn't see us, and she didn't know that we already passed her. She was still looking around.
Didn't know what
It
happened.
just kept going.
We had our invisibility cloaks on, I guess.
And for people, we're like locking arms and skipping through the park, and we were kind of like hovering our
Like the
arms.
Wizard of Oz, how they were skipping.
Yeah, and we accidentally swapped her in the back of the head. But
Oh wow. Sean, I'm gonna have to like repost this video in segments or something.
yeah, do it in parts, and then I'll be able to download it in parts too. That will give more viewers too. So
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah,
That
like
way
sex-
people can
Sexy
digest
Talk
it.
Part 1, you know, all that.
Woo! I didn't even get to ask you about Mr. Dietrich because I would love to talk to you about your feelings about him next time. Don't even say nothing. Don't say nothing, Sean. Don't say nothing.
I don't
But,
like. I mean, we can talk in person and stuff. I don't really. I love everyone.
Oh no, just your reasoning behind. I would never ask you to be like, what do you think about that person? Like, I don't want to be like a gossip columnist or nothing, but I just think what you did with him was amazing and necessary. Same way as if we talk about sex, that's necessary. The things that we need to talk about, it's all necessary because we're living in this world. It's not all light, it's not all dark, and we need to know all the crevices in between. So very important stuff.
We need to navigate it, right? How do
Need
we
to
navigate
navigate
it all?
Most definitely, most definitely.
There's,
Yeah,
there's
I
a
do
lot
that
that
for shows with
just
everyone.
people are
so.
inundated with all the information.
I'm so grateful. And see, you saw that message. I said, what do you mean? What, you look like you're in Jurassic Park. It was some cool place you went. Do you remember where that was? It was some pictures you had, and it actually looked like Jurassic Park. It wasn't, but it was some beautiful place that you went, and it was like,
What is this?
It was something you put, it must have been on one of your stories. It was a place that you traveled to, and I said,
Oh,
this
that's in Sri Lanka, I think. I don't know.
wow. And you didn't even take me with you. Damn it.
I mean, I'd have to like time travel to the future when I met you and first, and then yeah, I'll do that in the future.
Okay. Well, you got my coordinates.
Yeah, I'll pick you up when I finish my portal tech.
Okay, cool. I like that. The whole idea. So I thank you so much.
Oh, but wait, before you go, can you drop your information for when I upload this on my channel? I'll drop mine, including you, Marvel. So get back in. I don't know.
I keep hitting the button and she keeps disappearing somehow. What information do you need from me?
Yeah, how people reach you, like your projects, things, you know.
Oh, my link tree. Let me get my link tree links. I got hers as well.
And hopefully Marvel comes back on too.
Yeah, I got our link tree links.
I was like,
She
Master,
has
get
to
back in here,
go.
bitch.
Did she do it? Okay, I keep
hitting.
hitting it, but it just keeps. I've hit the button 3 times.
Marvel, stay.
Okay, there it goes.
Here you go. Cool. Yeah, Marvel, you got to drop your deets so people know how to reach you. Your DMs. How do guys get in your DMs?
Oh gosh. You can find me at elementalbliss.net, or you can find me on Telegram. I do free
You're glitching out. You're roboting. Whoa. Are you guys getting the robot?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, while you out, robot, we'll come back to you. Terry, your deets?
Yeah,
Frozen,
I work with Jonathan, and we're in the midst of starting to work on a website. But you can DM us on Telegram under Cosmic Axiotonal Alignments, or Terry Smith.
Cool. Okay, till Marvel gets back, maybe refresh your thing, because you're frozen. We can't hear you. Yeah, Erica, if you can.
Okay, so Marvel, you're gonna reach her at Linktree, like Linktree, and then / Marvel Bliss. And for me, it's still the same Linktree / the First Lady Erica. So if you hit @ the First Lady Erica, you're gonna find me, and that's THE1ST Lady ERIKA. So we're both on Linktree, and hers is easy, Marvel Bliss, and mine is the First Lady Erica. And I will give you that information in the how you want it.
Yeah,
And
wherever.
here,
You put it in the
okay,
comments.
let's go there. She go there right there, and I was working on that today in the Zoom.
Okay, and
She's saying, I love you guys. I'm sorry, I was so loud, y'all. That's just my voice. That's just me.
And I'm Bond, Sean Bond of the Sonic League at sonicleague.com, and on Facebook, Sean Bond, and also on Instagram, Sean Bond, the real one. And yeah, and I got lots of products and abilities that people can download and video products on my membership site, and a lot of free videos on YouTube. People can go through like 300 plus. Marvel, yay! Put your deets, put your DM.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, stop
Yeah, we
moving.
can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so elementalbliss.net or on Telegram at Free Tarot Readings by Marvel Bliss.
So let me go up like this, share screen, basic share screen. Here you go. You see that? Elemental Bliss for Marvel.
Okay. Wonderful.
So everybody can see. Everybody
Yeah,
gets
click on it. Click on it.
Subscribe, share, like, DM, copy, paste, save a copy, spread out, everyone. Smash the like button. Yeah, and if you like these videos, and especially like the sexual topics and stuff, let us all know in the comments, and the more you share it, the more this goes viral, then we'll definitely do more.
I know.
We're
gonna post this all over Telegram.
Spread it to all your perverted friends to help them. And yeah.
Get on that love train.
Yeah, join our Congo line.
We're just flashing. I'm flashing back and forth between our two link trees, and that's why I like having a link tree, because it goes to like all your sites, so you don't have to go searching all around for us.
Right.
There you go. Well, stop sharing. Yay, Sean Bond, the real one. You should have typed yours in, Sean.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Sean,
whatever.
you need a link tree. Sean, you need a link tree.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one now. Thanks to you guys. Yeah, and I'll send you the links, and you can put it in the description. So just
see, you can even buy me a coffee. You can even buy us coffee. See, buy us a coffee.
Thank God. So that, yeah, now you don't have an excuse to leave, Marvel. You can stay another 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm here. Y'all are gonna watch me eat dinner though.
What are
I'm
you
just gonna tell you that.
It's just a regular hotel. What are you?
I'm on the reservation.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, it looks like.
So I'm at the casino.
Oh, yeah, you're gambling away your fortune.
No, listen, I put in $3 yesterday and I got 124 and I walked away. And it was
Nice.
only my second time. So I'm good. I might
Yeah,
play
you
one
got that luck
more.
magic.
Well, it's funny because I was like rebuking the spirit of gambling and like that whole energy, and then I ended up
Nice.
winning. So maybe there's a trick. There's like something to it. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
They're trying
yeah.
to tempt me
Like,
and to keep
you know,
doing it. So
there's like
maybe.
good and bad aspects. So it's like, you know, I good to test your manifestation abilities and your luck. Just, you know, it's good revoking the predators because there's a lot of haunted energy there, and there's a lot of predators stealing people's luck. And yeah, if you resolve it and you get the immunity and the lucky energy, you can wing pretty big. And you know, if you got that luck of the Irish, then
Do you teach
we'll
classes in
see.
that, Sean?
what'd you say?
I said, do
What'd
you
you say?
teach classes in that?
Oh yeah, I get abundance like crazy. So like, yeah, I do teach that. I got some videos on it, so feel free to go to my YouTube, and there's some on abundance.
Is
And
there a
Well,
of abundance?
yeah, and PSIONICLEAUGUE league. Yeah, it's kind of like right there, I guess. So I wonder if people can see that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So thank you all so much. Thank you all for tuning in. Love you very much. Sending all that love
thank
vibes.
you. Love you.
Appreciate it. Share as much as possible. Fly, 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 fly. And yeah, we'll do more shows if it goes viral. So appreciate it. And all of you very much. Hope to look forward to seeing you guys in the future and talk on all that.
Check
Peace.
out that Psionic League. All right. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.